And I know that this shallow reading of Ayn Rand's books exists. So, for example, if you watch those terrible movies about Atlas Shrugged, where, yeah, those are pretty flat characters because they have completely excised all of the psychological and philosophical drama that you see in the book, which is what people should look for when they read the book. I mean, how many cowboy characters have you read about who, like Hank Rearden in Atlas Shrugged, struggle to redefine their entire moral code in order to decide whether or not they should give up their life's work? And that's not a shallow conflict. How many cowboy characters struggle over their entire view of human nature, whether or not human beings are inherently directed toward life or are sometimes acting on a death premise? That's the struggle that Dagny Taggart engages in. It's a metaphysical struggle, which also determines whether or not she is to give up her life's work. How many cowboy characters are passionate idealists who are nonetheless torn apart by the conviction that they think values can never be achieved in this world, and therefore are led to destroy their greatest loves? That's, of course, the conflict that Dominique faces in The Fountainhead. I mean, these are not shallow issues. Anybody who misses these issues, as I know many people do, they're not necessarily shallow people, but they're at the very least engaging in a kind of shallow reading.
What the head of Heritage said about some of his donors is so insulting that I think if you're a fan of Ayn Rand and think you've genuinely been inspired by Atlas Shrugged or by Howard Roark and The Fountainhead, and it's part of what has led you to build a career or a successful business, and that the head of Heritage is telling you, well, there's something superficial about that and about Ayn Rand and the kind of inspiration she offers. If you rightly were inspired by her vision of the human potential, if I were you, I would not give 1 cent to Heritage, because they're pushing a view that is diametrically opposite of that you should be chained to your family and to your community and to your nation and so on, not make something of yourself and celebrate as an individual achievement and accomplishment. And I've met many people who are not objectivists, who don't think, like, I don't agree with everything of Ayn Rand's philosophy and so on, but have been genuinely inspired by Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead to make something better of their lives and of their careers. And that's one of the reasons to read the novel again, to see why people are inspired in that way, or that many people are inspired that way by the stories. That's something good about a person, not something to criticize them for. And then on Peterson's side, I think it's very revealing that the comparison to Dostoevsky of Ayn Rand's not Dostoevsky. Now, I do think, as you were saying, in terms of the depth of her characterization, she is the equal of Dostoevsky. But it's a very different focus. And again, if you think of Peterson's worldview, that what life is really about, what gives it meaning, what gives it purpose, is a focus on suffering. That you get in Dostoevsky. You get a focus on suffering, on pain, on struggle, that life's almost unendurable, but I'm going to try to keep going and so on. That's very much Peterson's ethos. Ayn Rand is the opposite in regard to this. It's not that pain doesn't exist. It's not that suffering. You see the characters of Hank Rearden and Dagny, the characters that Peterson's focused on. You see them suffer and struggle and experience pain in different kind of ways, and like significant struggle. But they don't think of it as, this is the essence of life, this is what gives meaning to life, this is what gives purpose to life. They think of it as, no, what I want to do is achieve something in my life. I want to reach happiness, not just fight suffering. And just as I think Ayn Rand would think of Peterson's worldview, completely wrong, and I don't think she would put it as superficial, but it misses the essence of life. So his perspective, I think, on Ayn Rand is, yes, she's focused on joy, happiness, achievement. That's meaningless, superficial, and so on. And again, read Atlas Shrugged and see its emphasis on values and happiness, and a deep emphasis on building a life around values and happiness, and think if you can come out of that thinking, yeah, this is superficial.